Hey, what's up? What's up? Coming to you live on the Saturday afternoon from Syracuse, New York, and from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It is the Crossover Sports Podcast, episode 101, technically, but really 102 because we had a combo episode last week. But I am rocking out with Amina today. It's the controversial duo once again. So, Amina, go ahead and reintroduce yourself.
Hi everyone, it's Amina joining everyone live on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. It's actually the first day of fall, so we have a brand new season. Fall, apple cider, horror movies, and crisp weather. Much to Kylan's dismay, of course, but that's another conversation. But we have some great topics to talk about today, and we're gonna get started.
Ooh, nobody likes fall. Anyway, uh, we're going to start with the biggest story in Philadelphia. Well, the second biggest story, besides the fact that they laid the egg against the Buccaneers. And we'll get to that. But the biggest story in Philadelphia, the return of Carson, the Sheriff Wentz. He is back. He was cleared for contact on Monday and was announced as the starter. He will start tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. inside Lincoln Financial Field, the house that Donovan McNabb built, by the way. We're going to start with that. Your thoughts, Amina, on the return of the sheriff? Go ahead.
Having is funny. Um, Carson Wentz, yes, he was cleared to come back for regular season games to be the starter for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's one of the quarterbacks on the team. When I first heard that he was coming back to the team, he was cleared. I questioned why, because it happened so soon after them losing a game. And other people on social media, especially Eagles fans, have been questioning, well, if we had won the game against the Buccaneers, would he have been cleared? We don't know. We can't go back in time, but I wonder, like, what was the motives and intentions for this, like, so soon out of the blue? Because we knew he was coming back soon, but it happened like automatic. So I hope this was not like to be spiteful in any way. The injury he had was like a combo injury, and before the advancement of sports medicine and physical therapy, this injury he had, it permanently ended people's careers, and even if they did come back, they were never the same again. So I hope that he is an exception to that rule and that he actually does well, because I think that he has a lot that he wants to prove to his fans and the Eagles organization, and I think he's trying to make do on that. They play against the Colts, a team that's doing okay this season, and I'm looking forward to seeing who wins that game. Um, he's been getting better from what I've seen over the summer during the off season with the videos from training camp. I believe that he still needs to be getting physical therapy for the next several months just to make sure he's 100%. But he's getting along. Like he's right on target. From even what Kylan has said on the podcast, that players usually come back in 12 months from this, and it happened in December. So he's coming back in September. So he's a little bit before target. So that shows the advancement of sports medicine. So that's a win-win for those medical people that's on the team of doctors and surgeons that have been working with them. And Eagles fans, they're just gonna have fun, especially if they win tomorrow. So I support anything that he has going on. He's a great guy on and off the court, on and off the field. Excuse me, on and off the field. He's a good guy, and he has a lot to offer. So Want to see him progress and do his best and just have fun.
Let's go. The sheriff is back. The sheriff is back. For those of you that didn't even know, he had a nickname called the sheriff. Yes, Lane Johnson said that a couple weeks ago that I think Lane Johnson started this. He said the sheriff is back, and so ever since then, it has stick. He's now Carson the Sheriff Wentz until we can figure out another better nickname for him. So you always know that the Eagles have a really good franchise quarterback because each and every, or over the last couple of years, the last 3 franchise quarterbacks the Eagles have had, we talking franchise quarterbacks, so Michael Vick doesn't count. Donovan McNabb, Carson Wentz, and Randall Cunningham, who were both the QBs from the early 90s to the late 90s to mid 2000s, and now Carson Wentz have all had some type of knee, leg, or ankle injury. Randall Cunningham had a knee problem when he was here. He broke his knee several times in 91 and 93. Then he went on to the Vikings, and we all know the end of that story. Donovan McNabb had an ankle, broke his ankle against the Cardinals, and still went on to continue that season and lead the Eagles to the NFC title game, even though they would then lose to the Carolina Panthers. But he also had a great career. And now Carson Wentz, the man, the myth, the legend, the man who had one of the best sophomore seasons ever, was on pace for a 40 touchdown season, had 33 touchdowns, was the leader in touchdowns and completions and passing yards. That was the man. And this man is on a mission to prove that he is. Now, statistically, this is the best quarterback in the NFL. Last year, he was the best quarterback in the NFL. I know it's going to get some hate mail to me at Colin W. Watson. But like I said, let's just look at the stats. 33 touchdowns. This man had about a 90% QBR, the best QBR in the league, better than Aaron Rodgers and better than Tom Brady. This man had more touchdowns up until the point he got injured. He had more touchdowns than Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. So this right here is a top 5 quarterback that the Eagles are getting back. And if he is at 90%, 80%, let me just say this. I love Nick Foles, but a 60 to 80% Carson Wentz is better than Nick Foles on his best day. And I love the Super Bowl MVP, but that's just facts. Nick Foles is an up and down player. Carson Wentz is consistent. Now that Carson Wentz is back, a lot of the problems on offense, of course, they're still missing Alshon Jeffrey. And I know there's an outside chance that he might play, but it broke today that he's not clear for contact. He'll probably get cleared for contact, much like Carson Wentz, like I called last week before the podcast. Actually, Amina will remember this, and y'all will remember this because I've been saying this for a while. I told y'all he would come back in week 3, whether the Eagles won or lost, because that was always the plan. The franchise quarterback and the number 1 wide receiver would come back together. Now, I'm a little off because Alshon Jeffrey isn't cleared yet, but he's still listed as questionable for tomorrow's game. So I don't know what game the Eagles are playing here by saying this man ain't cleared for contact as far as Alshon Jeffrey, but he's still questionable on the depth chart. I don't know what game Doug Peterson is playing. But Carson Wentz is back. He'll have to be careful. As I've said a bunch of times on this podcast, I don't want him coming back too early, and I think this is the appropriate time to come back. I think that this is my conspiracy theory. I think he's been cleared to have contact since Friday, and they only did the news release on Monday to distract from the fact that they laid an egg against the Buccaneers. And I think that Carson Wentz is ready. I read an article by Jeff McClain, really good article, that Carson Wentz has basically been ready to come back since late July, since around my birthday, since late July. July 26th was the week that he was about ready to come back, and he had been cleared. He'd been cleared by every doctor but the Eagles doctor. And they just waited and waited and waited and waited. And Doug Peterson has said this. Doug Peterson has said, listen, I'm not going to rush him back. That's my quarterback. We're going to be married. for as long as I'm here, he's going to be here. So, of course, Doug Peterson wanted to be cautious. But all reports by most Eagles reporters have said that Carson Wentz was ready about late July, early August. He was ready to come back, ready to get back in there. But the Eagles wanted to slow him down. So, a lot of y'all might be thinking, why the Eagles bring him back now? As I've said, the plan, I believe, and it's backed up by a lot of reporting by different players, the Eagles have always wanted to slow Carson Wentz down. They thought that Nick Foles was good enough for them, and he has been. They're 1-1 right now. They'll probably be 2-1 tomorrow if they beat the Colts. And the return of Carson Wentz is great for the NFL, great for the Eagles. Hopefully, he will be safe. Hopefully, he will learn to get down, get out of balance, not try and take a hit. Carson, I'll end on this. I want to write articles for years to come about how great you are. I do not want to be writing an article saying he came back too soon, he injured himself, he didn't learn a lesson from unnecessarily diving and getting his knee broken in 2 places. I really hope I don't have to write another article like that. Please be careful. Please be careful tomorrow. Slide, go out of balance. Don't take unnecessary hits. Throw the ball away. Get rid of the ball quicker. That's all. Moving right along. We have some Hall of Famers that want to be paid by the NFL. I think the number right now is $300,000. I'll start with that. Eric Dickerson and them, they're NFL Hall of Famers. They want to be paid a pension by the NFL. Apparently, either they don't get paid a pension or the pension is too small. I'm not sure which one it is. But Eric Dickerson and some other NFL Hall of Famers have suggested to the NFL that they get paid $300,000 a year. Yes, you heard me right. $300,000 a year. What more than what a lot of people make in their lifetime, they want to get paid per year. And you know what? If I'm the NFL, to prevent a lawsuit, because you are getting sued by former players for concussions. Like, the NFL is getting sued at multiple places. They're getting sued by Colin Kaepernick. They're being sued by former NFL players for concussions. They're also getting sued for not, I think it might be the same lawsuit with these former players. The concussion lawsuit is a multiple thing. They're getting sued for not giving people enough knowledge about concussions back in the day, not adequately paying players for their health insurance after they get injured. So the NFL is screwed in a lot of ways. And I just think for the NFL, I think it would be good if you paid your former NFL players. I'm not saying you pay them $300,000 a year. Maybe you split the difference and say $150,000, $200,000 a year. Because, you're getting sued by most of these players anyway. You got people like Jim Brown that are saying that, and I don't know if this is related or nothing. I saw the headline. I'll look more deep into it. We're not talking about this today. But Jim Brown, I talked about him on this podcast, the man that kills his legacy every day. Jim Brown said he's going to boycott the Hall of Fame, the next Hall of Fame inductions. And I don't know if that's related to this or if that's just protesting during the NFL related, because Jim Brown is all over the place nowadays. And I go to his school. So Jim Brown is all over the place now. But it is what it is. But if I'm the NFL, pay these players $150,000 to $200,000, and just because you're the NFL, you're a multi-billion-dollar organization, you can afford to pay your former players $150,000 to $200,000. The NBA doesn't. I'm not sure what the NBA pays their former players, but the NBA does it, and the MLB does it. Every other major league does it except for y'all, and that's a problem when baseball is right about something and hockey is right about something, and the NFL isn't. You're on the wrong side of history when the NBA, NHL, and MLB all have a similar policy and you don't. Go ahead, Amina. Amina, you there?
Yeah, I was muting myself. Got the tongue tied there. Yes, I agree with Colin, and they need to be paid because this is not a hobby that they had. This was their career. They got drafted, they got suited and booted, they had endorsements. Some of them had endorsement deals and other factors and situations going on. This was their job, their career, their stream of income, their means of living, their livelihood, whatever you want to call it. And I can compare it to people in the music industry. When people retire from the music industry or they just fall off, like, and they don't come back like they were in their prime, it's nothing that they offer in the music industry after you get out. It's like you're out. Like, it's no social security, no pension, no medical, nothing. And that's what I compare it to with the NFL and how they don't want to take care of their former players. They actually put their lives, body, health, mental state on a line for football games. So they need to be paid. Their medical expenses, medical, vision, dental, prescriptions, anything they need or want, it should be provided, no questions asked. Because like I said, they put their souls on the line for these games, and a lot of them retired without even winning a ring. So pay these guys, because like Kylan said, the other major sports leagues, baseball, hockey, basketball, they take care of their players. They have programs and services for them. But the NFL, like we've said time and time again, they're not progressive enough in many areas in life, including this. So NFL, please get progressive for your sake, because you're falling behind other leagues, as far as other sports. It does not happen. People should be taken care of. Um, and that's about it. Like, just pay them what they need to survive, and also while players are still actively playing football, please don't splurge your money. Invest money, save money, put stuff to the side. Stop trying to live a high end life. Live modestly. It's not football, but Kawhi Leonard is still driving a car that's from the 90s. He's not interested in getting a brand new car, and he doesn't need one. Use that as an example. You don't need brand new everything. You could get a used car. You could downgrade and get a smaller house. You don't have to go get a dozen vacation homes and buy expensive jewelry nonstop. Save your money, especially if you have children. Be wise about your finances, because when football is done, if you don't have anything else to fall back on, you don't have no stream of income. And savings are important, so that needs to be also discussed with NFL players, as investing and saving. Because every time I turn around, it's some athlete that's a former athlete, especially football players, they're popping up broke, so-called broke, and it shouldn't be. With these contracts you all are getting, you all are making six figures, not six figures. You all are making seven figures, millions of dollars. So there's no reason why you all should be in financial situations of people that are barely making ends meet and rinky-dink jobs. So please invest and save. And I agree with Kylan and these Hall of Famers that they should get services and money after they retire, because of especially because football is the most dangerous sport.
All right, moving right along. We're just really moving here. Moving right along to our next topic. We are going to go to Philadelphia again. Philadelphia 76ers finally hired, I'm sensing a theme here, Philly sports. The Philadelphia 76ers hired Elton Brand as their GM. And I know, like me included, I was shocked, to be honest with you. I'll start this one. My thoughts on Elton Brand being hired is, first off, I want to know what part. I knew the Sixers were thinking about hiring internally, but when I thought they would hire internally, I thought they would just do with the Minnesota Timberwolves, with the San Antonio Spurs. Because Brett Brown has proven himself, and he's been loyal. He stayed with the Sixers through thick and through thin, through the bad times, the 7-game seasons and all that. I thought they would reward him, and when they said we would hire internally, I really thought that they meant that they would just hire Brett Brown as the coach and the GM, like they have done in Minnesota, like they've done in San Antonio, right? But of course, the Sixers are different, and they have to throw a curveball. So they decide to hire Elton Brand, who was a fairly good player for the Sixers. They suck a lot of money into him. He was a good player. He played for the Sixers. He played for the Clippers. Yeah, Sixers and Clippers. That's who he played for. He was a really good player in college and in the pros. Like, don't knock on him as a player. But I just am shocked because he just was playing in the NBA 2 years ago. Matter of fact, Joel Embiid tweeted, "I just dunked on that guy 2 years ago," viciously. Joel Embiid is a troll. Those of you that don't know who Joel Embiid is, he is one of the greatest personalities in basketball. He's also a troll. That's what he is. And I'm happy. I hope that he's good. I heard he's been doing really well with the Delaware Bluecoats, formerly the Delaware 87ers, the Sixers G League team. So, I mean, if he's proven himself down in the G League, this is a good story, man. It's a player who worked his way up. And I really hope he does well. I hope he doesn't screw it up. I hope he can make some trades. I hope he can use that Duke education, use all 4 years at Duke to make the Sixers a powerhouse. Because right now, all they're missing is a couple pieces. All they need is a third, maybe a fourth scorer. Because I'll give Markelle Fultz the benefit of the doubt. We're about to get to him too. But all he has to do is make some good trades, get some more depth on the bench. The framework is there for him. Sam Hinkie built the framework. Even though I don't like Colangelo, he didn't mess up what Hinkie did. So, it was set up. It's set up for him to succeed. All he has to do is not mess it up, and I hope he succeeds. I wish him well. I like Elton Brand. He was a good player. He didn't really do anything to mess with me and make me upset besides playing for Duke. But that's just I don't really like Duke basketball. That's just me. But he was a great player, and I wish him well. And like I said, I hope that he can take what he learned at the Delaware 87ers / Delaware Bluecoats now and take it to the big leagues. And I wish him well because you never know if any of these guys are going to succeed, especially former players, until you put them in there. And I hope he's more of a Steve Kerr than he is a Michael Jordan. I really hope he's really good at what he can do, and I hope he succeeds. Amina?
Yeah, tongue tied today with my words. Elton Brand, yes, he was hired as the Philadelphia 76ers new general manager after several months of being on a hunting spree to find a replacement after the Colangelo scandal. Elton Brand, he's been on 5 teams. He was drafted by the Chicago Bulls. He played for them. Then he moved on to the Clippers, then the Sixers, then the Mavericks, then the Hawks. Then he retired with the Sixers. So he's played on various teams in his 17-year career he had. So yeah, he played for 17 years. And he didn't have much career success, so to speak, as far as rings and MVPs and all that, but he was a great team player, and he had a lot to offer as a player that I think could have been more progressed. But when it comes to the Sixers, as far as hiring him for the general manager position, they said that they were the most impressed with him out of all the people they interviewed. They interviewed so many people internally and externally. They stopped, evaluated, they went back, and interviewed more people. And from what they're saying, he was the one that impressed them the most. So they gave him the job. They hired him some days ago at night, and he got the job. And he just said, I think yesterday, that the goal is a championship. And say that, and you just got hired. That is a huge step because the Philadelphia 76ers have not been doing well in the East for the last 30 some odd years because the last time they won a chip was in 1983. So a whole lot of not Eagles, a whole lot of Sixers fans have not seen their team win a finals in their lifetime because they either weren't born yet or they were not old enough to enjoy 1983. So it'd be nice if Philadelphia could win their fourth chip, the first in a modern era, then bring a Larry O'Brien to Philadelphia. And that's what his goal is. And I feel as though because he's not a general manager that most people would have thought that they would have hired, he has more, may have possibly had more innovative ideas to bring to the table as far as getting the Sixers further than the second round of the playoffs, get them to a finals and one, get them to the finals and get them actually winning one. Because getting to a finals doesn't mean anything if you don't win. So I think he's a great choice. And he's new, so we have to give him a chance to see what his additions to the team are. And I wish him nothing but the best. And he's young too. He's only going to be 40, so he has a lot of years to put in with this team. So Elton Brand, I support you and your new job position.
All right, so Andre has entered the fray. So we're gonna let Andre talk about. Andre, what do you think about Elton Brand getting hired? Go ahead.
Yo, what's up, y'all? I'm excited for him. I want to see what he's going to bring to the table, because he didn't bring that much when he was a Sixer, but we're going to leave that alone. I just want to see him move us into a direction where, we stay in the playoffs for years to come. You hear me? I say years to come because our Eagles team is set up right now, so we're going to start winning for years to come with Carson Wentz at the helm. It's all about, who's leading the ship as far as um, on the field, so on the court. So I think we're in a great direction with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, Markel Fultz. Yet we've seen him. We've only seen like a little glimmer of Markel Fultz. I think Elton Brand can do a great job. He has a basketball mind, so that's a great starting point right there. Like you want somebody that knows the game well. You don't necessarily have to be a great player to be a great GM. We've seen great players not be great GMs, So hopefully, he's one of the best, and hopefully he can bring to the franchise something we've never had. We can. We don't want another Billy King era. That's what we don't want. We don't want you just giving away draft picks and paying players that are not currently paying for us anymore. I'm really excited. I was excited to hear about it. I was like, what? Elton Brand? It just came out of nowhere. It was left field. And they said they've been talking to him since Labor Day. So, I'm excited to see what he's going to do. And he better impress us. He better work hard. He better. I hope he takes this as serious as it is. He can change the franchise. He can become the GM of the year. I just hope that he meshes well with our coaches. He meshes well with our players, and that he gets the understanding that he's really there to serve them and not so much to tell them what to do. So they all got to work together on a great game plan. So I hope that everything works out. But I'm excited, man. I'm really excited to see what he's gonna do, and I'm always excited to see our brother get a shot because yet and still, the NBA is predominantly black, but how many black people do you see in charge of the teams? I mean, we got some head coaches, but we need some more black owners, and that's just simple. And that's a fact. It's just we got to start moving this ball forward. I'm so sick of seeing white men be in charge of everything. It's not their hard work, sweat, and blood and tears uh, being put out on that court. So, Elton Brand, do your thing, man.
All right, so moving right along, speaking of Markel Fultz, guys, he debuted his shot. Apparently, he's been putting that shot up 150,000 times. He's putting it closer to his wrist on the right hand. No, I have not been watching a video of this. I've seen it. I've seen the shot. I analyzed it and put some points on the board. He's looking good. That shot's looking good. I hope it falls when it's time, when it's real. But what do we think? The Markel Fultz debuting that new shot. What's our thoughts? Go ahead, Andre. Dre, you there?
Markel Fultz, man, I'm glad he debuted his shot. I just can't wait to see how he handles the NBA level. And we've seen a little bit last season, but it's going to be tough this year. A lot of teams are mixed up. Houston has Carmelo now. The Lakers got LeBron. I think we can sweep the East. To be honest with you, as long as we bring our A game and not taking people lightly, because Boston's going to be tough. Don't get me wrong. Cleveland's going to be sweet. Even with Kevin Love still there, it's only so much he can do. We got more firepower than them. And that's all the NBA is about now. Is how much firepower do you have? Like, because some teams can give a shot, but can you keep shooting? We can keep shooting. And I'm not just talking about mid-range jumpers and threes. I'm talking about attacking and staying on the go and not letting the team get back. Just keeping your foot on that pedal. So I'm excited to see. I hope he just works well with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. He's not the type player that needs the ball all the time, because a lot of people are worried about that. Like, Markel Fultz might need the ball. You got to work with the team, man. You just got to work the game plan, and he's got to play defense. I don't want him being lax on defense because he can score. No, I need you to play all phases of the ball. I need you to be setting screens. I need you taking charges. I need you to be great. So, the shot looks good. It looks good. It looks good. So I'm excited. I can't wait for him to start the season, man. Because, listen, one draft pick, man. I don't expect nothing less than what I've seen from the great number one draft picks we've seen play in the NBA. That's it.
Mina?
Yes, I'm glad to hear that Markel Fultz is improving with his jump shots for basketball. He's he's one of a few players that needed to improve in that area of playing basketball, and I believe he's ready, like Andre just said. And I'm just excited to see him. He's had some struggles in his career thus far, and I believe this will be a good breakout season for him, as well as Ben Simmons. I hear he's been getting and working with LeBron James and some other players that have been in the league longer than him, so they've been giving him tutoring lessons as well. So I'm excited to see the Sixers just just go all out this season. Just win one game, then move on to the next. Win, then move on to the next. That's the goal. Just keep just winning the games. Because you all have a lot of potential, Sixers, to go far and go beyond. This team is in championship contender now. It's no longer in rebuild mode. So continue to aim for that trophy. Markel Fultz, I'm happy for you. A whole lot of people had doubts against you and said some things about you, but you kept going and you got a lot of heart for the game, man. I ain't got nothing bad to say. I'm glad that you are improving. And I think I seen one video and you're making do on those. Let's see how things go. Start next month.
I mean, once again, Amina and Andre, the A team over there, they being a little too nice for me. I'm happy with that Markel got a shot. finally got a shot. But I mean, let's be real. I mean, what else was he going to do? I mean, he spent most of the time. I'm happy for him that he got a shot. That he found a jump shot that works for him. That's the most important thing. Finding a jump shot that works for you. And I wish him much success. But being honest here, keeping it 100, keeping it a bean, as we say in Philly. What else was he going to do? I mean, he didn't really have a good rookie. I mean, most of it was injury, then it was nervousness. I hope that whoever the person is, the doctor, the church, whatever it was that got Nelson Aguilar right, I hope I hope the Sixers sought that person, that team out in order to help Markelle Fultz because he's looking a little bit more confident. I'm liking it. I'm liking what I'm seeing. But being honest, like what else is he going to do? He had no choice but to be in the lab. He didn't have a good rookie season. And I'm being easy on him. He didn't have a good rookie season. Most of it was just like every other 76ers rookie, not named Jalil Okafor, was a redshirt year, you know? And I'm happy he spent most of the time in the gym. I'm happy that Brett Brown said he's put out about 150,000 shots since the season ended, and it's all looking good. I'm happy for him. Don't get me wrong. But what else was he going to do? What else was he going to do? Like, any other time, if he was just out strolling, if we would have seen pictures during the off season of him strolling, being with his girlfriend or whoever, or just being with his family, a lot of us would have been mad because we want him in the gym. And he's in the gym. I hope his shot works. I hope it does really, really well. Like everybody else, I'm expecting a breakout season. But I'm so glad he was over the summer. It was him. It was Jason Tatum, and it was Joel Embiid working together. And as I've said on this podcast before, I wish they would have locked up Ben Simmons and put him in the gym with him and made sure he couldn't get out until he developed the shot. Now, rumor is him and Markelle are working on threes together now. We'll see. But I just want Markelle to have a good season. I want him focused. I want the team to keep him right mentally. We don't need another year of him having a mental breakdown or whatever it was that caused him to lose his shot. So I really hope that, like I said, the team that got Nelson Aguilar right, the Sixers went and sought them out, talked to Jeffrey Lurie and the Eagles, found out who Doug Peterson talked to get Nelson Aguilar right. Because if Markelle Fultz can have a breakout season like Nelson Aguilar did last year, I hope it keeps going for the rest of the year. I'm expecting a good season from him. At least 15 points and maybe 8 assists a game. That's what I'm expecting. If he can do that, I'm happy. I want him to be a good star in this league and good for the Sixers as the star in wait, the third in line. I can't wait, and I hope he does well. So moving right along, another NBA news. Jimmy Butler, the man that's 29, but with the workload and the mentality of a 40-year-old, wants to get out of Minnesota, and he wants to either go to the Brooklyn Nets, the Los Angeles Clippers, or what's the third team? Or the Knicks. So what are our thoughts on that? Go ahead, Amina.
Yes, it started with breaking news this week that Jimmy Butler over there on the Minnesota Timberwolves requested a trade from the front office over there, and I think it was either yesterday or the day before. One of those 2 days, they actually confirmed and said that the other 29 teams in the NBA are free to contact him as in he is available. He doesn't want to be on the Minnesota Timberwolves anymore, so he's about to leave there. He wants to be on the Clippers. That's where he's getting towards to be sent to. But I wouldn't put it past the NBA that they would do something crazy because look at Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard didn't want to be on the Raptors, but look at the situation. So the NBA has a thing for sending players to where they don't want to go. But he did give a list that Colin gave accurately. He wants to either go to Clippers for the first team, and then the other two are the both New York teams, the Nets and the Knicks. The only reason why I could see him going to the Knicks is because there's been rumors that Kyrie Irving may be leaving the Celtics next summer, and it may be his #1 destination to go play at Madison Square Garden. So that's the only reason why I see that for the Knicks. But the Nets, I don't know why he would be. I don't know why the Jimmy Butler would be trying to go to the Nets. I don't see what's over there or any potential other people joining him. I don't see what's going on with the Nets, but that's neither here or there. But I see more so the Clippers. But now, since yesterday, it's been some drama going on with Jimmy Butler on social media concerning somebody's wife, I hear, and some drama, like petty stuff going on. And some people are saying that he always is starting trouble or something everywhere he goes. I haven't kept up with Jimmy Butler's entire career. I just know who he is and what he does on the court. And all I know is that he's a good, decent player. So his personal life should impact at all what team he goes to. And front offices shouldn't judge him for that. He should be signed to a team for his potential and his skills, not his personal life. So he wants to go to the Clippers, so please send him to where he wants to go. And we'll see where he goes because the season is starting like in less than a month. So it's coming, the decision of where or for what team is going to pick him up. And who knows, we might hear it this week coming or the week after. So look out for that and conversations that are going on about what team actually signed him from a trade from the Timberwolves.
Andre.
Mr. Butler. First of all, let me say something to you, Mr. Butler. If you ever disrespect another one of your teammates or former teammates again by commenting on his wife's picture, you, my friend, have been removed from the jock club that embraces one another and doesn't cross boundary lines that everybody know is an unwritten rule, but just goes without saying disrespectful. And now you want to hop from team to team. You want to, I don't know what you want to do. It just seems like you're all over the place right about now. So you could have embarked upon a great career, but it just seems like you're all about yourself. So that being said, I think what's coming to you is going to come to you. I think you're making your bed and you're not going to like what you're going to get. You should just focus on the game. You should work well with your teammates. You shouldn't be going and just making noise everywhere you go. Bad noise, not good noise. I never heard anybody running out to your defense or anything like that. That speaks volumes. You know what I mean? Like, so, I'm so disappointed in you, man, because you got a lot of talent and you could be a lot better than what you are, but you're focusing on the wrong things. So, I'm glad you're not in the Sixers. I'll tell you that much.
Well, I think Jimmy Butler, he was a great player. He is a great player. He's one of the best two-way players in the league, no matter what he does. I think that what happened to him, Jimmy Butler rose through the ranks because of what happened to Derrick Rose. Jimmy Butler was the second option on that Chicago Bulls team, and then he all of a sudden became the superstar once Derrick Rose went down against the Sixers. We all know what happened. And so Jimmy Butler was propelled because Jimmy Butler was a blue-collar workhorse from Marquette, the same school as D. Wade. There's really only two good players from Marquette currently in the NBA right now. That's Dwayne Wade, who's on his way out, and Jimmy Butler. And both of them happen to both be from Chicago. And I think that Jimmy Butler is a good player, but I think he's becoming a cancer because I don't think he can handle the fact that he is not on the 06 to 09 Chicago Bulls anymore. I think that's what it is. He likes being on a team where he's the best player. Obviously, in Minnesota, he's not the best player. That's Karl Anthony Towns' team, you know? And in Chicago, it can be argued where he came from. He wasn't even the best player on his team because as long as Dwayne Wade was on that team, some would argue, me, that Dwayne Wade was the best player on that Chicago Bulls team. Even though that Chicago Bulls team was okay, Dwayne Wade was the best player on that Chicago Bulls team. And, he's just been suffering because of the fact, to me, that he was propelled into a star role that he was never ready for. That's not Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is the second or third option on your team. He's not the main guy. I'm sorry. He's the guy that can shut somebody down for you, cause a stop, do what it need to do what it do to help you win the game. He's not the guy that gets you the wins. And I don't think it would be good for any of those players on this team. You notice that he wants to go to teams that are young and up and coming. Like, say what you want about the Clippers, they're young and up and coming. There's nobody there anymore. They're young and up and coming. Say what you want about the Nets, same thing. Young, up and coming. That's D'Angelo Russell's team. Young, up and coming. You know what I mean? Like, everybody is young and up and coming. So if I'm any of those teams, I don't want him on my team, to be honest. I want Jimmy Butler in a locker room full of veterans. I mean, Andre saying he doesn't want him on the Sixers, but to be honest, I actually think he'd be good for the Sixers. It's a little bit different. It's a stronger locker room than what's in Minnesota. I think Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons could keep him in check. I think he'd work well being the third option with the Sixers. I think he's what the Sixers need, a defensive stopper who can play some defense. Say what you want about the Sixers. The Sixers would have defensive lapses when it mattered. We can look at that Celtics series. There were a lot of defensive lapses when it mattered. So I think that he could do well in the Sixers, but I think he wants to go to teams that he knows are going to suck. He can bring in like a Kyrie Irving because they're best friends to that team. And obviously we know that if he went to the Sixers or any team that's actually good, Kyrie Irving would probably not be able to fit into the books. But you never know. These NBA teams be making stuff work that make no sense. Golden State Warriors. But we'll see. And moving right along to our next topic, we're just going to keep on moving to our next topic, which is we'll save the Mavericks for later. Colin Kaepernick, guys. What are your thoughts on what Colin Kaepernick's legacy is? Go ahead, Amina.
His legacy is what I've said time and time again on this podcast. He is the new school martyr of the sports world. He joins Jesse Owens, Jackie Robinson, Muhammad Ali, Tommy Smith, John Carlos. If you want to put the Williams sisters in there a little bit, he joins all those people that came before him that had made their mark in different sports arenas and different sports leagues, and as far as in the Black community, when it comes to social and political injustice. And he's going down in the history books for that. I think in the future, 10, 15, 20, 25 plus years from now, he's going to be more known for his movement that he started than his actual football career. When I really think about it, we're going to be talking more so about what he did in 2016 than his career with the San Francisco 49ers. It's facts. He's going to be talked about when my generation's grandchildren and great-grandchildren are in school in the textbooks, just like Muhammad Ali was discussed when I was in school. He's going to be the subject of many children's book reports and PowerPoint slides. He's going to be the topic of discussions in college and university lecture halls. He's gonna be talked about for so many years that people aren't going to be able to stop talking about it. Regardless to whether he ever returns back to the NFL on an active roster, suited and booted, is not here right now. But he's already solidified his place in history. Like, he has nothing else left to prove. He's out here doing community service, giving really nice suits and shoes to men that need them for job interviews and to start their businesses. He's out here feeding people. He's out here inspiring nations. I mean, when his movement first started, no, not first started. Last year, I think it was, had a whole soccer team from Germany kneeling. Germany, this the home country of Donald Trump's father side of his family, the home country of Adolf Hitler. By the way, Hitler never stood up to give respects to Jesse Owens at the 1936 Olympics in Berlin, Germany. Let's not forget that. So the fact that Colin Kaepernick could get Germans kneeling is mind blowing. The impact and power this man has all over the globe now, and no politician can shut him up. No religious leader can shut him up. He's here and he's here to stay. He's young, energetic, and he has a lot to offer. And I want to see him go above and beyond. I want to see him do different things. Me and Kylan have had conversations on the phone and in person, and we both want to see him start giving commencement addresses at high school, college, and university graduation ceremonies, because I think that would be powerful. I mean, imagine Colin Kaepernick speaking at a university's graduation ceremony for to be the commencement address main keynote speaker. That would be a treat that people will remember for the rest of their lives. Police brutality. It's always been discussed in the Black community for decades, even dating back to the days of slavery with bounty hunters and all that. But the magnitude that is being discussed in the past 2 years has been upgraded and intensified because of him. And this is good because a whole lot of people around the country and around the globe, they want to shut Black people's experiences in America down, dealing with police officers saying, "Oh, there's no such thing." I've actually seen on Facebook, Instagram posts where Caucasians are actively saying that there's no such thing as police brutality, and it's mind blowing. I'm like, there's no such thing as police brutality, and I have to run down a list of Black victims in recent years. I said, I told him, don't make me send you the video of Rodney King in '91. So police brutality is very real, and it's the reality of every Black man, woman, and child in America. And this is what we live. We're all seconds away from being the next hashtag, as I like to say. So Colin Kaepernick, he's doing more than what's required. And I believe a team of people needs to join ranks with him, whether they are in the NFL or not, to keep this movement alive and growing, because it's still growing. It's still on the popping. And it's a movement for the ages. And his legacy stands alone from anyone else. He joins the ranks of those that came before him, as I said, but him specifically, because of why he started his movement, no other sports martyr started a movement on the basis of what he did. So that stands on itself. He has a lot to offer. So come on, Colin Kaepernick. You could do more and greater.
Andre?
Colin Kaepernick is one of the best Americans you've ever seen grace the soil of the United States of America. He's a man that stands behind principles and values. He's a man that's humble, and he cares more about his cause, the causes he supports, the movements, than he cares about his own well-being. You know, he's received death threats. He's been ridiculed time and time again by Agent Orange, by every American you can probably think of. You know, he had a short career. He came in the league in 2011 and left in 2016 for standing up for the right to protest. That's what we're talking about, the right to protest. You know, it kills me when people tell me how I'm supposed to protest. This is America, people. Like Don King so famously said, only in America. And I would add to that, say, only in America they'll tell you how you can protest and what you should protest and when you should protest. But how is that freedom of speech? It's not freedom. If you tell me when I should do something, true freedom means I do it whenever. Means it's going to be uncomfortable. Means we're going to have conversations about it. Means I'm going to offend some people. That's the whole point of a protest, to offend you. To offend that belief that you have. Because we got to sit down. We got to discuss why I think it's wrong. You got to tell me why you think it's wrong. And then we're going to weigh the options and we're going to look at it. What's better for humanity? Not for black people, not for white people, for humanity. All people, every person that's living. I think he was a great football player that had a lot of talent, and he made it to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, he didn't win the Super Bowl. I wish he would have, because that would have made even more noise for him and his cause. It's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and how could y'all do him like this? But even beyond that, he's so talented, and we all know in the NFL it's so hard to come across talented football players that are quarterbacks. I mean, this guy is not one-sided. He can run, and he can run very well, and he's very fast, and he can throw. He doesn't have the greatest accuracy in the world, but I want to say he can put the ball there, and he can put some spin on it. So I wish he could play longer. And I just read a report where they was talking about he possibly may come back to the league, and with that in his grievance. And like, no, y'all colluded already, so it's not going to end the grievance. We still got an issue with how you did it. We had to do all this. We had to get Nike behind us, and now their stocks have surged through the roof. So it's still an issue. We don't ever want this to happen to anybody. We don't ever want to have to go through all this just to get your attention. But if we have to, if you're going to force our hand, then so be it. But Colin Kaepernick legacy is one of the a legacy that anybody wants, especially as a young black man. You want other young black men to look up to you and to say, "That's what I want to do. That's what I want to be. I want to fight for my family. I want to fight for my community. I want to fight for every American that feels like they're not being done right." So, I'm so proud of him, and I didn't know. I knew the movement would make waves, but I never knew it would get to this level. I never thought Nike would back him like they did, and I'm so proud of Nike for doing that. Shout out to Nike, and I just can't wait to see what he does next. And I applaud all the work he's done in the community, whether it was giving back, whether it was knowing your rights, whether it was going to speak to some children and let them know you got to stand up. Because basically what he's saying is you can't let anybody bully you. So what? Their voice is loud. You make your voice louder.
All right. Colin Kaepernick's legacy. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. Colin Kaepernick's legacy is one of activism and intelligence. That's what it is. He was. I rehashed this last week or the week before that. You know, he was sitting down during the national anthem. Nobody really cared about it till one reporter asked him, and he gave a response that went something like, paraphrasing here, "I'm not going to stand for the national anthem until America starts living up to its idea of equality, when its brothers and sisters of color can stop being shot by police, dead in the street, blah blah blah, without due process." You know the rest. And he's been used as a political football by different people, as the NFL, even Nike. Nike did a good job backing Colin Kaepernick, but they've always loved backing controversial athletes. And that's what it is. It's activism and intelligence, two words that um, basically sum up Colin Kaepernick, an activist and an intelligent activist. And we'll be talking about the intelligence of Colin Kaepernick as more stuff comes on. The fact that, his collusion suit can continue to move on. This man is probably going to end up owning the NFL and probably end up suing 45 too. And it's going to be good to see what's going to happen with the Colin Kaepernick story. Moving right along to our final topic, we're going to talk Mavericks. We ask that you keep this short and sweet, 2 minutes or less. You know, as with this, because it is a controversial topic dealing with sexual assault and harassment in the workplace, all opinions reflected on this podcast are the opinions of that individual and not the opinions of the Crossover Sports Podcast and any related entities. Andre, go ahead.
Colin, Colin, you ain't even asked the question.
My bad. Your thoughts on the Dallas Mavericks? I apologize. Your thoughts on the Dallas Mavericks? Got ahead of myself.
I'm disappointed, y'all. It's always a question that I ask: what year are we in that we have to subject women to this kind of abuse, and what kind of changes are they going to make? Because it's now that you're in the bad light, now it's about leading the charge to get in the make sure this doesn't happen to anybody else and any other organization gets away with things of this sort. Um, Mark Cuban, man, you disappointed me, man. I thought you were all about the sports and about the players, because that's so much of what we see in the light. How well he treats his players. Look how beautiful the locker room is. Meanwhile, there are women being abused and sexually harassed in your organization. You can't be screaming 1 minute, "I'm such a great boss," and the next minute, you're a horrible boss. So I just, I hope they really get this right, and that they not only make changes, but they fight for the cause that they were against. So you were sexually harassing people in this organization. I need you to help other organizations, and I need you to set up platforms where you're speaking for women, and that you're donating. That you got those you got some of your executives coming out and helping out with those community events and all that. So I need your actions to speak louder than your words. Is what I'm trying to say.
Amina?
Yes, this is disappointing coming from an NBA team. We don't ever get sexual harassment and assault from the NBA. I come to think about it, the last time I heard about anything of this nature was Kobe Bryant, and that was years ago. We don't get this. This is something to be expected from the NFL. This is NFL's territory. NBA, this is not hashtag not my NBA. So disappointing that the Dallas Mavericks are tied to this, and Mark Cuban is going to be donating $10 million to resources and services for sex abuse survivors, and they've been ordered by the courts, or I think it's the courts, they said, to hire more women for the Dallas Mavericks Basketball Association. And it's just unfortunate that, that the whole basketball team is tied to something of this nature. It shouldn't be. Sexual harassment has to stop. Please don't do anything without consent. Watch what you say. Watch what you do. Mind your surroundings. Know your area. And just respect others. We're not living in the old days, even 10, 15 years ago, where people were more understanding of things. People have short caskets, and they're so happy, and they're ready to file lawsuits at the drop of the coin against you for anything that you've said or done, even if it's not bad. So, because of the times we live in, please be very cautious of what goes on coming from your hands and your mouth. So good that the Dallas Mavericks, they've owned up to it and they're paying restitution, but still, regardless, it should not be. It shouldn't be a conversation, but unfortunately, but we have to have it because it's happening. But may this be a lesson learned to the other 29 teams in the NBA to don't do it. Highland.
All right, like anything else, I mean, this is a hard conversation to have, especially in the NBA. Like Amina said, we haven't had this kind of conversation around sexual assault in the NBA since Kobe Bryant and in the early 2000s. And we all know what happened in Colorado. That doesn't need to be rehashed again. I just honestly kind of like, I agree with both Amina and Andre, but kind of going with Andre's point, like it's hard to square the man that Mark Cuban advertises himself to be. And I know the report says that he had nothing to do with it. He only knew about maybe 2 of these women getting assaulted. And that was because of what happened earlier when he hired these 2 people to be his president and VP of the Mavericks. And so it just speaks to the fact that as men, black, white, whatever, you cannot be, this is not the 80s, the 70s, or the 60s anymore. Blind ignorance is not a defense. I don't understand, as Mark Cuban, you expect me to believe, Mark Cuban, that the man that founded and created Shark Tank, who advertises himself as a man that knows everything, that knows all, you didn't know. Even though it's well documented as evidence, you didn't know what was going on in your organization, but you advertise yourself as somebody who knows everything that's going on in the organization. And I'm sorry, that just doesn't square. I watched the interview. He seemed very contrite, very apologetic. He did much better than Urban Meyer. He did very well. But the one question that really got me that Rachel Nichols asked him was, had he talked to any of the victims of the people he hired? And he couldn't answer that. He said that he hadn't yet. He said it was hard to identify. I'm paraphrasing there, but he said something along the lines of it's hard to identify these women and the impact that this has had on them. And I found that kind of weird because you're the owner of an NBA franchise. You own the team. You have access to the HR reports. It's not like HR can stop you from making a call saying ... Hey, it's Mark. Give me all the information that you have on the women who have been sexually assaulted by my 2 former employees. Boom, you make a call. Sure, lawsuits, but that there are lawsuits coming. You're gonna have to talk to these women in the court of law anyway. You might as well try and make some type of effort to contact these women and say, listen, I apologize. I'm sorry I didn't know. I'm sorry I hired these people. If there's anything I can do to make it better, or whenever you're ready to talk, something like that would have been great. I would have loved to hear that I've reached out to some of these women, and even though it's hard to have a conversation with them based on what happened, I reached out. I let them know that I'm doing everything that I can to make sure it never happens to another woman again. I think that would have been great for me to hear. But like I said, I can't square with the Mark Cuban that has been advertised to me, and this Mark Cuban that the NBA and the investigators are saying didn't know anything, and I have to believe the report, didn't know anything, but yet you expect me to believe that this man knows everything. So I'm just really having a hard time squaring that. But sexual assault is wrong. I've said this multiple times every time it comes up. Sexual assault is wrong, and no man, black, white, or whatever, if you own something, if you manage something, you cannot claim ignorance. Know the people that you hire. Urban Meyer and Mark Cuban should be prime examples to men and women who are hiring managers. Know the people that you hire. I don't care if you don't work for the FBI. That's what we have background checks for. The stuff is not hard. It's not hard. You know, this stuff is not hard. It's public record. Google the person's name. A simple Google search. That's what they teach you in journalism school. That's what they teach you in college. Google your name. A simple Google search can do wonders. Know who you're hiring. Know who you're hiring. Because if you don't know who you're hiring and you hire a sexual predator, it's going to look bad on you. You cannot in 2018, in the era of the Me Too movement, say, I didn't know I hired a sexual predator. What? Do you know how many background checks you have to do just for a credit card? Why are y'all not? Why does Visa, Chase, and Discover have a more detailed background check system than some of these companies? I don't understand it. I really don't. Know who you're hiring. I mean, I think that's the life lesson here with Mark Cuban and Urban Meyer. Know who you're hiring, and don't go the extra mile for somebody you know is trouble. Don't care who their grandfather is. Don't care who their dad is. Don't care if that was your best friend's roommate. Don't care. Know who you're hiring. Know who you're going to bat for, because it will look bad on you later if they do something that makes you look like a fool. That's it. All right. That's the end of this episode. That's the end of the episode of Crossover Sports Podcast, episode 101/102. Like I said, we did a combination episode last week. I want to thank Andre. I want to thank Amina for coming through. Stay tuned. Share the episode. Keep on supporting us. Keep us in your prayers. And just have a great weekend. Enjoy the first weekend of fall. No matter how much I don't like it, it is a seasonal change. Enjoy the first weekend of fall. Stay dry. Stay safe. Prayers out to Richard Jefferson's family for what happened to his father this weekend, being shot and killed. Prayers up for that. Prayers of safety up for North Carolina and South Carolina. Like we said, deuces. Enjoy your college football today. Enjoy your NFL tomorrow. Fly, Eagles, fly. Deuces.